Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on Mother's Day, and so it's a very, very warm welcome to you all. And for those of you who may be mothers, this is your day. However, it's not going to be a happy day for everybody. So, but let me talk about that in a second. A mother is a person who, on seeing that there are only 4 pieces of pie for 5 people, promptly announces she never did really care for pie. And I wonder how many of you had a mother like that. Jeannie, hi, good to see you there. And happy Mother's Day to you. I hope you've had a wonderful day so far and that it will continue to be wonderful. I must admit that I've been truly blessed today already. Um, about half an hour before the broadcast, and there was a knock at my door, and there was not Benji, there was Dougie with an orchid for me. He knows I love orchids, and I just was so sad because I said, "Oh, I'm just about to do a broadcast," and he said, "I know, but I just wanted to make sure you got it before uh, you did the broadcast, and that you get to enjoy it." And as I said to Yvonne earlier today, he's a real keeper. I picked a good one when I picked Dougie. So a very, very emotional day. I just wanted to say that if you haven't subscribed to Dear Mama Sal, please do. We're a group of people who get together a couple of times a week and share life's ups and downs and really learn how to cope in our mind, body, and spirit, and go through everybody's ups and downs. All right, it's not just all about me; it's about everybody that's part of the group. And I wanted to say that today, of all days, I wanted to dedicate this broadcast today to Lauren's mom and to Lauren herself, because, as some of you know, her mom passed this week. And I can only imagine how difficult today must be. She has just literally buried her mom, and suddenly it's Mother's Day, all in the same week. And so, excuse me, as I was saying to her, the most difficult thing about a loss as deeply felt as the passing of a mother is the fact that you're going to go through a year of first, the first Mother's Day without her, the first Christmas without her, the first her birthday without her, your birthday without her. All these firsts are very, very difficult. And I think more so in a way with a mother in many ways for those of us who've not had a parent pass. Um, it is very, very deep and profound, and it'll stay with you for the rest of your life. Hi, Jody. Good to see you as well. Yes, Jeannie's saying, I took a visitor to Mass this morning and then went home and made brunch for 2 friends and later was given a card, flowers and candy, and even a cake. How about that? Isn't that beautiful? So, uh, as I said, our thoughts and prayers are with Lauren and the family, and how terribly difficult this week has been for them. They had the week before with her getting so sick, and then the operation, and then she came out of the operation, and it was touch and go all the way for about 2 days, right, JD, 2 or 3 days even, and then boom, gone. And really, what do you say? There's so little that we can say that is of any comfort, other than the fact that we're here for you, and that we make sure she knows she is not alone, because that's really important. And also today, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that Em in Ireland is going through a tough time as a mother. And so, again, our thoughts and prayers are with her as well. For those of you who don't know, we had a number of birthdays in May. We had Bernice's anniversary on the 6th. We had Taylor, that is Jodie's little fur fluff ball. Um, and she turned what, 7, or he turned 7 on the 8th. Manon in France on the 9th, and Jeannie's daughter also had a birthday on the 9th. Beth and Charles had their, I believe, 33rd wedding anniversary on the 10th. And in a couple of days, it's Jonas's birthday. In case he happens to pop in, remind me to wish him a happy birthday again. And for those of you who go way back, Andy's birthday. And then on the 16th, it's Emma's birthday in Ireland. So we lots and lots of very popular months. So if we missed your birthday, in the first half of May, please let us know because it means it's not on our list. And also, I'd like to, if you could, take thoughts and prayers for Nyasha. She's off to Trinidad again from Tobago. She lives in Tobago. And she's off. She has to go to Trinidad to go to an eye specialist. And this will be another visitation before her major operation on her eyes. So, it's sort of all pre-op type visits that she's doing at the moment. So let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers as well. Barbara Walters said, "Motherhood is tough. If you just want a wonderful little creature to love, try a puppy." And for some of you who have been mothers, you will know, right? Being a mother isn't all good fun. It is a very difficult time. Yeah, Jeannie's saying, we're praying for you, Nyasha. Yes, and we are. And Jody said, we're just thinking of you, Nyasha, praying for you every day. Yep. So it's a bit frightening for her, and we understand that for sure. And who wouldn't be frightened? Now, I want you to just acknowledge the fact that it's not Mother's Day around the world. It's Mother's Day in certain countries and not in others. So we have today, Mother's Day is celebrated in the US, in India, Canada, Australia, and most of Europe. However, Mother's Day is celebrated in the UK on the 10th of March for some reason, and that is also known as Mothering Sunday. And it's a day celebrated 3 weeks before Easter Sunday. Did you know that? In the UK, 3 weeks before Easter Sunday, and it actually falls into the time of Lent, which is, interesting that they did that. Not quite sure why. So I hope you felt a great deal of love this week. And I certainly did. I had a great visit yesterday. I mean, other than the fact, that Doug popped in and gave me this beautiful card and the orchid. But Yvonne came to visit me yesterday. And we I had such a long list of things to discuss with her. It's really interesting when she comes. I always talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, what's been happening over the last month, because she comes to visit me once a month. And it's like an encapsulation of what I've been doing during the month. And I take her to the craft room and show her what I've been doing there. And then I show her, what I've been doing in the kitchen. You remember I did that major rework of that corner over there. And now, for those of you who've been following my downsizing and redoing it, this week I took everything out of this cupboard and halved it. But I don't mind telling you, I need to do that again, but I'm not going to do that this week. I'm going to do it, next time round. But it needs, it still needs to be downsized more. And now I've still got underneath here to do, and in this cupboard that I'm talking to you in, there's so much junk in here. I want to get everything out of it and then throw half of it away, and then start again. So there we go. That's the next step in the downsize. Did anybody do any downsizing this week? I wanted to just continue the thing about Yvonne's visit, because she has this wonderful habit of, she brings me an incredible coffee from Tim Hortons every time she comes to visit. And she's got into the habit of bringing me apple crumble pie from Walmart. And it's so good. But what I said to her, I wonder if it's okay if I take it next door, because I've been invited next door, which I was yesterday, next door for dinner and a game of Killer Boggle. So I just want to tell you that it's okay if I take it next door and share it with my neighbors. So it was the gift that kept on giving. And the wonderful thing is, my neighbors must have taken pity on me for some reason, because they sent half of it back with me. And we're just like, I think they all took little bits rather than take the whole of the pie. So I thought that was really cute. So I'm really going to be enjoying that a little bit later today. And the game of Killer Boggle was wonderful. No, really. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think I won two of the games, which was obviously very exciting for me. But what I said was, it's we laugh so much, right? Because we each end up making up words that we think might have been a word, and so we put it in there, and then I always have my phone with me, and my job is to check whether there is such a word. Now, our defining thing is if it's okay in Scrabble, it's okay in Killaboggle, and we had some priceless words that were really funny. And then, of course, when you've got a word that somebody thought that might be a word and wasn't, then you just say, nice try. So we laugh a lot. We really did laugh a lot. And a great meal. We had a cold meal, cold cuts and stuff, and it was, really beautiful fresh bread from Cobb's, and it was just really great fun. However, I wanted to update you for those who've been watching my hydroponic thing. You will remember that in March I bought a cabbage about that size. Let's see if I can get this forward here. Okay, I bought a cabbage about this size in March. This is how big it is, but what I did, for those of you who haven't seen it, is I put it in so that just the bottom of the cabbage, the way they cut the stalk, was touching water. Look at the roots on this thing. Okay. And it's still growing. I've already taken, every week I take 2 or 3 leaves off. I put some in a stir fry. I make, what do you call it? Coleslaw, stuff like that. So now I've just bought the second one because I want to give the small one time to regrow. And it's actually growing some leaves at the bottom here, I see. But I'm just going to give it time just to bulk up a bit more. And this one I put in water on March 9th. And no roots yet. So there we go. Those are those two. This is a iceberg lettuce that I bought on May the 3rd. And I wonder if you can see. Wait a minute. Yes, you can. Can you see that root there? Get it out. Yeah, you can see the root? And it goes halfway, it goes down about that low now. So this is also growing still now. And once it's got one root, it'll grow more. So, and that was really in a couple of days, right? That was May the 3rd I did that. And this one just makes me chuckle. This is the bottom of a romaine lettuce that I just cut the bottom off, put it in water. And I don't know if you can see, but that has grown a root and it's already touching the bottom here. All right. It's like, and this was May the 3rd as well that I did that. So extremely exciting. On April the 26th, I put some sage that I got from the store, just the grocery store, in water to see if any of these nodules would shoot a root or two. Nothing has happened yet. But the good news is it's still getting leaves on it, which means it's still growing. So we'll be patient with that one. And it was really interesting because Yvonne really wanted to see everything that was happening outside on the deck. I've got this massive grow up going on the deck with lettuce and things. And then she even went to the back garden to see where I'd actually doing experiments with I put some lettuce out under cloches so that the rabbits couldn't use it as a deli. It was quite exciting. So she was really very, very interested to see it all. And the other thing that I wanted to share with you, because I was telling Yvonne about this and she didn't know it either. Let me just find out where I've got that. Anyway, let me tell you anyway. I want you to just have a little guessing moment for a second. Okay? And the reason I want you to guess for a second is because the weather's getting pretty hot here. Right? And what I did was I decided to do a bit of research, which is if I ran my stand-up fan, I know that sucks electricity, but how much electricity does it pull versus the air conditioner? Have any of you ever wondered that? So I did a bit of research and I was totally stunned at the answer. So here is the question. How many hours can you run a stand-up fan for it to be the same amount of electricity drawn as 15 minutes of your air conditioner? Dum, 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 dum. So stand-up fan, oscillating, all the bits. How long can you run that fan versus 15 minutes of an air conditioner? What do you think? How many hours? Or is it even an hour? Anybody want to hazard a guess on that one? Jody's guessing 12 hours. Jody, to my absolute astonishment, you can run a stand-up fan for a full 24 hours, and it will use the same amount of electricity as running your air conditioner for just 15 minutes. Now, I don't know about you. I've always not put on my stand-up fan, oscillating fan, because I thought it drew quite a bit of electricity. Yeah, Jody's saying, wow, I had no idea. You know something, Jody? Because I'm trying to reduce all the time, I have now decided I am buying, in fact, I've got it, I will put the order through tomorrow, a fan, a double fan to go in my window in my dining room, the hottest part of the house in the summer. It gets to over 80, 90 degrees American, where I'm standing here. What's that in everybody else's language? Hang on a second. Yeah, it gets to in the 30s Celsius, right? Here in where I'm standing. This is the hottest room in the house in the summer. So, but this is my dining room here, and there's another big bay window. So what I've decided to do is to get one of those units that has two fans in it that can either be extractor or input fans, all right, whichever you want. The reason is because that's facing sort of northwest, which means that that part of the house also gets the last of the sun every day. However, what I thought I would do is use the extractor of it and get that to pull the air from the back of the house, which will be cooler. All right. Or in fact, I will do experiments both ways to see. And what I have done now is to rethink. Normally, because of already we're up to, it was well up to the high 70s yesterday inside the house. I would already be, getting my air conditioner ready to go. And I've decided, no, I'm going to see how long I can cope without the air conditioner. And I lived close to 20 years in Africa without an air conditioner. All right. And mostly with fans. And so this is like, okay, let me see if it's really that much cheaper. Let me see. I probably think by the time we get to this time next month, I will need my air conditioner. Yeah, Jeannie, thanks, Jeannie. Jeannie's saying 30 degrees C is, equivalent to 80. That's what I thought. It was the low 30s, right? So do you understand what I'm doing? I'm now seeing can I get more airflow in my house and keep the heat down? I can handle up to about 80 without any problem at all. All right. Um, but what I want to do is to catch it before it gets that hot. All right. So, for example, when the inside got to 75 today, I turned on my fan to start bringing in the. Oh, and what I'm doing is keeping a track of the temperature of the air that's coming in. All right. Right. You want to make sure the air outside is not hotter than the air inside. And what I've managed to do today, which surprised me, and it's a really beautiful day today, is I managed to keep this room at 75 so far. Now, the sun, as you can probably see, is starting to come around to about this level. And then I've got the sun beating in my greenhouse window and through my skylight. So you understand, it's just like an oven in here. It's like solar powered heating, literally. So I have to be a little bit careful about that. But we can do this, right? It's all an experiment. And then, I love to do experiments. Oh, gosh. Yvonne and I were trying to, for some reason, uh, we had an issue yesterday where the internet had a blip. We haven't had many since that upgrade, but my internet had a blip. And then my Echo Dot, my Alexa, sorry, Alexa, my Alexa, I mustn't talk too loudly about it because otherwise she answers me. My Alexa had a moment, all right, and went out of whack. So, do you think we could get that stupid thing to work again? We tried everything. We rebooted it. We rebooted the whole of the internet. We rebooted everything for about an hour. And then eventually I said, Yvonne, this is taking too much of your precious time. And she said, no, I'm fine. I said, I'm not fine. I only get to see you once a month. I don't want to spend any more of your time wasted on my Echo Dot. Yeah, I'll work that out in my own time. But thank you for all that you've done because I found lots of things that isn't wrong with it. And I will still keep finding what is. So after she went, one of the things I noticed was that every time we got it talking to the internet, it went blue, which is meant to do, and then it went red. And it was like, why does it keep going red? I must have asked that question about 10 times, but did I do anything about it? No. So this morning when I got up, I thought, well, I've got a couple of hours before I need to work on the broadcast. Let me see what I can work out. And then because we tried so many things to get it to work. And then I said to myself, what if the red is something to do with it not being on? And you're going, no, why would it light up red if it's off? Yeah, that my logic was, why would it light up red if the thing was off, right? Didn't make any sense to me. And I went, nothing else has made sense. So let's see. Now try turning the on-off button like one more time. And it went dead. There was nothing there. And I just went, Alexa, what's the weather today? And she said the weather today would be. So I wrote to Yvonne and I said, if ever you want to do a face plant, the reason it kept going red, it was trying to tell us it wasn't turned on. Hi there, Niasha. We did send you thoughts and prayers earlier at the start of the broadcast, and all the best for your trip. When do you go? When do you go to Trinidad? And thank you for the Happy Mother's Day wish. I appreciate that. Rita Rudner, the comic, said, I was asking my friend who has children, what if I have a baby and I dedicate my life to it and it grows up to hate me? And then it blames everything wrong in its life on me. And the friend turned to her and said, what do you mean, if? That amused me. And so, also this week, oh, you're going tomorrow. Okay, Niasha. Well, we wish you bon voyage, and please keep us informed what the specialist says. Do they have any idea when you might have this operation? Are we getting to know anything about that yet? Or could it be any moment? Or just give us, if you can, give us more context around that. In the meantime, I just want to let you know that um, one of my pipes suddenly sprang a leak. And apparently it had to do, you remember we had that very cold snap for Vancouver, very cold snap this winter. And apparently one of the um, valves in my system had a hairline crack in it from that. And then, of course, when I started to use that faucet, because it's spring, it got a little bit bigger. And then suddenly it just got quite a bit bigger. And that's when we noticed it. And just amazing these days how much it costs you to have a plumber come out. Now, he did a really great job, really good person, really great job. But I'm talking close to $300 just to have that done. So, scary stuff. My reminder to all of you who have a dishwasher, remember to give it a clean once a month. Do you know how to do that? I'm going to keep reminding you because I've noticed that my dishwasher is working a whole lot better since I've been doing this. So once a month, what I do is I just have a ramekin, right? And I fill the ramekin with vinegar, white vinegar, and just put it at the top and run the dishwasher with nothing in it except that vinegar. And what it does is it really keeps the dishwasher clean from scum and all sorts of things. And the other thing, I didn't know that. Do any of you use those little pod things for your dishwasher? Some of you will and some of you won't. But do you know that you should not put those in the little cup thing in your dishwasher? You should actually just huck them in. And that has something to do with the way that they're built, all right? It shouldn't sit in the little cup thing like the powder would, all right? You're going to just tuck it in and then close the door and set it to go. That was news to me. I didn't know that. I was so proud of myself yesterday. Yesterday, I went out and gave my car a wax job. I have not put wax on my car in longer than I can remember. And all I did was I have some spray wax, it's in like a spray bottle, a spray can. And instead of spraying the whole thing, I just literally sprayed the rag and rubbed it a little bit. Sprayed a bit more, rubbed the next little bit. I went around the whole car in about under an hour, and it looked so nice and clean now. It was just so exciting. And Jeannie's saying 2 days ago, I went downstairs to put my washing into the dryer and discovered a flood on the floor. She called her son in, who came over, that's John, and who happened to came over, and I knew what happened, and he fixed it. And then used a vac to clean up the water, a wet vac, right? Obviously not a regular vacuum. No plumber needed. They are very useful. I always think that if you, one of the best reasons to have a son is for moments like that, and they should live locally. But, not all sons are handy like that. And I can remember, Jeannie, just to make you laugh, I can remember John is your stepson. Yes, but he's still your son, if you know what I mean. Okay. I don't want to pick bones in that one. So I can always remember after I got divorced, I had been divorced for probably 6 months when my ex-husband, and it was not a pleasant divorce, my ex-husband phoned me up to ask me how to connect the video machine or whatever it was, in those days. And I said, why are you phoning me? And he said, well, you're always so good at these sort of things. I said, do you know how I got to be good at those sort of things? And he said, Well, you just got to, you're good with electronics and computers and stuff like that. I said, yes, but not by chance. The reason I'm good at it is because, unlike you, I spent a lot of time learning how to do it so that I didn't have to call the fixer guy. And it was so funny because he said, well, could you just, come over? And I said, no, we're divorced now. Your choice, by your behavior. So you can phone somebody that may probably charge you to do it, but you can find out how to do it that way. Please don't call me on this sort of thing again. Yeah, it was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. You didn't appreciate me when you had me. Why suddenly do you want me to help you now? It's just like, ugh. Okay, so Niash was saying tomorrow I am leaving for Trinidad, but Tuesday, which is the day of the appointment, I'll be speaking with the surgeon regarding the operation. I was told back in January. Oh, Jody's saying I love that answer. Well, um, yeah, I've had a funny week with people sort of abusing my friendship in funny ways. So it was just like, yeah, right. Um, but it's really good to set that boundary, right? It's just like the only reason you didn't call me because it was my birthday. You didn't call me to tell me you missed me. You called me because you needed my help on something trivial. Yeah. No. Let your new girlfriend do that one. All right. So this is Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis said this, and I thought it was beautiful. She said, if you bungle raising your children, I don't think whatever else you do well matters very much. I want to say that I don't totally agree with her in that, because sometimes you didn't do it to the best of your ability. Yeah, you did it to the best of your ability, but later you learn more. How many of you kept saying to yourself, I wish I'd known that when I was bringing up the kids? And so I can think of one mother that I know that's very dear to me. And, she really had a problem being a mother in the early parts. And I got to meet her, and I said to her, the good news is that you have the rest of your life and your son's life, to change that. And I'm certain he will forgive you. And if he doesn't, that's his learning. But I said, the thing is this, that what you didn't know then, you do know now. And therefore, you can be the best mother he ever had from this point onwards. And I said, by the way, do you want to be the best mother that he wants on his thing or on your scale? Because, that's the interesting thing. What does a really good mother look like to him, not to you? And I always have that conversation. I don't know if any of you do this, but whenever I have one of those meals with Dad, every now and then we go out and have dinner together, really good steak. Whenever I have one of those meals, I always say to him, how could I be the best mother for you in the coming months? I always ask that question. And I make sure I know about his timetable. He does a lot of really big events like the Vancouver Marathon and stuff like that. He does really big events like that. Very stressful. So I know I won't hear from him sometimes week in, week out. And it's not that he doesn't love me. It's just he hasn't got time to even think about what day it is because he's got so much on his plate. But what I do is I make sure that I document all his events. And then about 3 or 4 days before each event, I will send him an extra little note to say, I love you dearly. I know you're overwhelmed just because you're so close to the XYZ event. But I want you to know I love you dearly. And if you breathe right now and take a couple of seconds just to ground yourself, it'll all come right in the end. And it was really funny because he said to me, you do such a good job of that. He said, I forget that you keep track of all the events and then suddenly you'll come up with the name of the event or whatever. And I said, well, it's the one way that I can show you that I love you, to be interested in your event. and to know, how long it lasts for, and because then I know where the stress is, because the stress is going to be, just before the event and the day of the event. So I don't expect to hear from you at least 2 days after the event. Yeah, it's really important. And it was interesting because he always has said that it was my ability to do that he so appreciated. Jody, you're saying that's so beautiful, but that's the sort of stuff that you do to me all the time. You keep immaculate notes on stuff for me, about me. All right. And Yvonne does that for me as well. She'll write to me every now and then and say, "Do you realize that it's 9 years since Bean passed?" And I'll go, "No." But she's got it documented. And it comes up every year, and every year she reminds me. And so it's like those little things are important to people. Oh, and Jody, of course, is saying, and I was thinking about how you do that for me. Yeah. And I think that's what friends do. All right. And I was talking to one of the viewers this week, um, because I knew it was her son's birthday, and it was a private thing. Yeah, I didn't want to do it publicly. I wanted to do it privately because she is a viewer from way back when, and we have a sort of weird connection, if you like. And I didn't know it, but when I sent the happy birthday to her son, um, I, I I should explain that her son is autistic, and apparently he happened to be looking over her shoulder at the moment that she opened that up. And she was saying to me, "Sal, you have no idea how excited he became that," she calls me Auntie Sal, "that Auntie Sal remembered his birthday." And I was thinking, it's such a small thing, isn't it? But it's like using somebody's name, all right? It's so very important to people. And I'd like you all to remember that. A great gift to give anybody. Did any of you have any stress this week? I mean, other than my plumber stress, I had another one. I think you all know I'm pretty good about recycling stuff. So I have spent the whole season, winter season and into part of spring, recycling single-use plastic. Do any of you do that? The stuff that gets wrapped around vegetables, um, packaging, just wrap, all that sort of what I call single-use plastic. I had nearly a contractor bag full. Right? Can you imagine that? That's not a regular garbage can bag. That is almost twice that size. It's a contractor bag. Amazing how much I collected. And I was so proud of myself. So what I decided is I'd put it out for the recycling. The recycling refused to take it and left it for the garbage. And I'm going, I spent months collecting that stuff so that it could be recycled in the correct way, and you ignored it? I'm going, okay, I won't be doing that again. But I will. So I did a bit more research. It just was just like, how could you do that to me? Little stressful, yeah. So as I was saying, spring cleaning, I'm still doing well on that slowly. One of the conversations I had with Yvonne was, I said, I feel so lazy at times. She looked at me and said, "You feel lazy?" I said, "Yeah, I don't feel I'm doing enough." And Yvonne, has this wonderful way about her. And she said, "Now let me just see if I can get this right." She said, "A few months ago, you could hardly walk. And now you are walking without a limp. You are, doing all sorts of things." She said, "You look better today than I can believe, considering, how sick you were 6 months ago." And she said, "You've obviously been working really hard to build your immune system and to build your strength and do all sorts of things." And she said, "What is it you're not doing?" Ah, interesting. Jeannie's saying this past Saturday, mailmen were collecting cans of food for the poor. Yeah, you took some cans out of your pantry. Yes, I love to do that as well. When sometimes they bring a bag and say, please put some in. Right. Nyasha's saying, Mama Sal, can a person, for example herself, change their life for the better after years of neglect? What I mean is, before the decision was made to have the cornea transplant. Okay, I'm waiting for the second part of her question. Yeah. Judy, I always think it's wonderful. We can all spare a can or two out of our pantry, right? And that is good to remember. And if you happen to be near a food bank, don't think that your one can that you happen to have, that you want to donate won't make a difference, because it will. And if you happen to have two, and just think about, if you didn't have anything, how much would you appreciate a can of baked beans or a can of pre-made soup? One of those things. It's just like, yeah, it's a really good idea. I'm glad to hear that your guys were doing it and that you participated. So you gave the mailman a whole box. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me with you, Jeannie, at all. You're a very generous person, generous in spirit. And so that, I'm not surprised. Now, what was I telling you about? Hmm, It'll teach me to talk to people while I'm busy doing a broadcast. I clean forgot what I was saying. All right, but let me find another quote for you. Maria Shriver, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's previous wife, said, having kids, the responsibility of rearing good, kind, ethical, responsible human beings is the biggest job anyone can embark upon. Isn't that the truth, right? Should not be taken upon lightly. This is like, it's a lifelong journey. And from my experience, I was so lucky. Even though I was unable to have children, I was so lucky that life brought children who needed a mom into my life so that I could play that part for them. And now I get to reap that benefit, from people like Dougie and Benji and so forth. Um, so really, really grateful that I was able to do that. And I was amazed of how many people actually contacted me this morning, from my friend group, to wish me Happy Mother's Day. I always think that's wonderful. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks, Jody. Jody's got a great memory. She's saying, I was talking about Yvonne, and Yvonne saying I look better than she can believe, considering how sick I was. Um, But it was interesting because I said, yes, but I had wanted to do this, and this, and it's taking me so much longer to do than it used to. And she said, yeah, you have had a few things, life has got in your way quite a bit. Yeah, but then I really wanted to do this in Confetti Corner. That's my craft term. And I haven't got round to that yet. I seem to be, she said, and how much downsizing have you done this month? I said, quite a bit. But you know what happens with downsizing, Yvonne? You open up a box and you downsize it and you end up with clutter everywhere. And then it takes you the next 2 weeks to clean up the clutter and before you can move on. So it gets worse before it gets better. And she said, exactly. But how many boxes did you clear out of your bedroom? And I said, 4. And she said, yeah, which is why you're struggling, because that's a lot of clutter that you are now trying to find new homes for or do whatever. So she basically was telling me I was not being very fair to myself. And then she said, if I were giving you this story and I were living your life that you've lived in the last year or two, she said, I know that you'd be quite angry with me. I said, yeah, I guess I would. So smarten up. I said, okay, I'll smarten up. And I think that's what a true friend is. Um, Jeannie's saying, Dear Mama Sal is a mothering kind of broadcast, and your caring attitude gives people hope, like a mother gives. Thank you, Jeannie. Um, yeah, I must admit that I get to do a lot of stuff offline that people don't see. And I'm very pleased to say that a lot of people who have been viewers from way back when still contact me privately, and I still help them wherever I can. And what I said is, I did help one person this week, for example, and they said to me, there is a very special place in heaven for an angel like you, Mama Sal. And I said, wait a minute. The whole reason I started Dear Mama Sal was so that people would not be alone. The whole reason I started it was that people who didn't have people who cared in their life would be able to come somewhere and know that people cared. I said, so don't be surprised. It's why I did what we do. And when I look at, the support that some of the viewers give to other viewers, I go, this is the whole reason why I wanted to do this, because I know how lonely life can be. All right. Niasha, I love the fact that you reach out so we can give you that support over the next couple of weeks, all right, or the couple of days. Um, and you hopefully will be able to close your eyes and know that we're there with you if you want to. Right? You're not alone, even though your parents will be there. It's a different sort of love, right? And we will be there in spirit if you want us to be. And so to me, it's like it's not just me, Nyasha. You know it's not just me. All right. When I put up thoughts and prayers for people, uh, not everybody responds, all right? But what I find really interesting is how powerful those thoughts and prayers have been. Judy's saying, at first I felt I was spending it today alone, and then it turned around and my day became full. Yes, I think it's really important, Jeannie, that you know how blessed you are and how loved you are. All right. And that's important for us all to know. And it doesn't matter whether you have biological children or not, right? This is like, know that you play a role in somebody's life, right? And we as a group play a role in a lot of people's lives that you don't even know about. I always say to Jody, I heard from somebody whose name I have never seen on the feed, on the live chat, never seen the name there. And they wrote to me and said, I've been a viewer for over 10 years and da 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 da. And I just wanted to let you know this is happening to me. And I'm sorry to bother you, but, and I go, no, it's the whole reason I do this. Please bother me. It's like, if you're going through a tough time and you think I can help you, that's exactly why I started this. So it's a very important thing to know. It's not just biological. All right. Mother's Day isn't biological necessarily. For a lot of people, their mother is not their most supportive person at all. Their mother may be the most criticizing person that you can imagine. And so it's not the perfect mother anywhere. All right. And then some mothers, are still shaming themselves for not having done a good enough job. And it's really sad, but it happens. But we know that each mother does the best that they can with the information that they have. And as I demonstrated earlier, some of them grow up a bit and learn a lot more later on and go, gosh, I wish I'd known this earlier. And as we all do with life in general, right? It's an ongoing learning process. There's no way to be a perfect mother and a million ways to be a good one. Isn't that true? There's no way to be a perfect mother, but a million ways to be a good one. And I was saying today about Dougie, all right? Dougie is my son of choice, and he adopted me as his Canadian mother um, in his mind many, many, many years ago. And I said to Yvonne, what I love about his love is he doesn't talk about it, he shows it, right? And he, who was there for me when I had the cancer operation? Who drove me to the hospital? Who took me home and looked after me for nearly a week? You know what I mean? It's like, and even when I had the oral surgery, who took me there and stayed with me overnight to make sure I was okay, without and so busy. He's one of the busiest people I know, but he will clear his calendar if he needs to be a son. He will clear his calendar, and it's just like I am very blessed. I try not to abuse his love or his time, but boy, when I need him, he's always stepped up and been there for me. So I am very grateful. And the fact he's not my biological son has absolutely nothing to do with it, right? Because I wasn't blessed with that ability. Think about that. And the same way as I look at so many viewers, and they are brothers and sisters and daughters and sons to me from across the world. I will always see Manon as a surrogate daughter for me. And the fact that she came to Vancouver and we got to spend, days together just still touches my heart. It was just such a magical time. And we already had a really close bond prior to that. But after that trip, it's just amazing. So I've been so fortunate to meet so many of you. And I look at Jody and I look at Lauren in Tasmania. And if you can imagine it, the day that her mother died, she actually came to talk to Jody and I. And I don't know, and I do know actually, Jody and I both just shook our heads and said, "You made time to come and talk to us?" And she said, "I just needed to get away from them all and have a moment to myself." And yet that moment to herself was to talk to us. But I don't know if you can feel the love in that when all that grief was going on, when all that pain was going on in her family, that she took the time to go into her bedroom and close the door and then talk to Jody and myself. I was in tears, Jody. I'm pretty certain you were as well. It was just like, what a compliment that is. What an incredibly amazing thing. Um, okay, so Nyasha, I don't know what you just wrote, but Jeannie accidentally nuked it. Hang on a second. I should be able to re-look at it. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, I can reread it. Hang on a second. Oh gosh, hang on. There's quite a lot that got nuked. Hold on a second, Nyasha. I've got to unnuke things. All right, so Nyasha was saying, I agree, Jeannie, because of her. I think that's because of Dear Mama Sal. I can face the future with so many challenges ahead of me. Sal is awesome. Thank you very much, honey. I think you are too. You're an incredibly brave human. And then she later said, the entire community as well. Yes, I agree. And yeah, it wasn't intentional. I know that, Jeannie. I'm not sure what it is that you do, but we need to find out, Jeannie. I think it has something to do with a right click or a left click or something. But luckily we can undo it now, which we couldn't do before. So that's a good thing. All right, so that is my broadcast for today. But before I go, I just want to let you know I am wearing my Vancouver Canucks t-shirt because they're in the playoffs. And so what I'm going to do for myself this Mother's Day is, as I close the broadcast, I'm going to be going and firing up my air fryer. Actually, I'm going to be making my 3-cheese mac and cheese. Not good for somebody who's pre-diabetic, which is, I only make it once a month. And I'm going to be making 3-cheese mac and cheese. And then I'm going to be making incredible batch of fruit and cheese type snacks as well. And then I'm going to take a deep breath and sit down and have two helpings of mac and cheese, not just one, because I know how good it is. And then I'm going to snack my way through the Canucks game and thoroughly enjoy my evening. And what I wanted to say is, for all of us, I am certain that we have been a mother to somebody somewhere along the line. And I am certain that whether it's a stepmother or a real mother, um, I really find that difficult. I was fortunate enough to have a stepfather, and I really never thought of him as a stepfather. I always thought of him as my father because he treated me so well. And I am certain that those of you who are very loving mothers to stepchildren, unquote, are seen as mothers, not just stepmothers. You know what I mean? Um, so then, yes, Jody wants to warn Niasha that you are probably on a timeout, and you'll be able to post. But I'm about to close the broadcast anyway, Jody, so she won't need you. Niasha, we wish you all the best. If you can, let us know so I can keep the viewers informed for you as to how you're doing. But if you don't get a chance until you get back home, that's also okay. That's not a problem. Thank you all for mothering me. And I say that because over the last couple of years, I've had a couple of occasions where I really needed the love, the motherly love that so many of you showed me. And the incredible love that you have shown me week in, week out for all these, over a decade now, while I do the broadcast. Yeah, and Jeannie's saying, I'm delighted to be Stella's mum. Yes, for those of you who are mothers to four-legged little friends. It's just like, I am certain we've all done the good, the bad, and the ugly, when it comes to our pets. And yet they loved us so unconditionally. Nyasha is telling me, tell Jeannie it's all right. Hang on a second, let me just see here. Tell Jeannie it's all right. She shouldn't feel bad. It was a mistake. I can't type. I'm in a timeout. So, Nyasha, we love you dearly. I hope you can still hear us. And please know that it wasn't intentional, as I said. And we're not quite sure what Jeannie does, but she does it well. All right, everybody, have a super week. And please keep Nyasha in your thoughts and prayers, and also Lauren, obviously, in her thoughts and prayers, in your thoughts and prayers, as she's actually finished now the Mother's Day because she's in Australia, but at least she got through the first one, and to try and explain that as these days go by, the pain gets slightly less. You don't think it will, but it does. But it takes a long time to grieve. And because, your mind's got to reprocess everything. And it's so difficult. And those of us who've been through it know that pain. So anyway, having said that, to all of you, have an awesome week. I hope you do. I intend to as well. And look after the mother inside you. In other words, if you don't have anybody to mother you, you can do it for yourself. And whatever, you feel that a really good, loving mother would say to you or do for you, you can do that for yourself. And that's really, really important. Jody's sending prayers for all, especially Lauren and Yasha, as do we all. And we will see you hopefully on Friday. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much for all of you that are here and for all of those that might watch on the replay. We'll catch you on Friday. Bye-bye for now.